Hello and welcome. In today's exciting episode, I take this adorable floral fabric in pastels and autumn tones and I turn it into a pretty vintage dress.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
So April is my month to finish unfinished or half-finished things, and I've been doing quite a good job of that, if I say so myself, but I'm going to take a break and make a dress from start to finish without having to patch things and redo things, and just start to finish, simple, cut it out, sew it, and then be able to wear it. So I'm going to use this fabric because it's adorable. It's got the most beautiful flowers on it. It's just precious, and I just love it. So one of the videos you may not have seen yet, I made 3 mustard dresses, and this one is the 1939 Vogue one. So how I changed it was I cut the bodice, and I used a Bodice 6677 bodice, and then I had the sleeves already cut for that one, but for this one I'll cut my own. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make 4 panels of the skirt instead of just 2 for the from the 1939 Vogue pattern. And then I also put in some extra triangles. There were 4 of them from when I cut out the panels of the skirt. So I'm going to use them as well, just to make the skirt extra twirlable. And then, so I've cut them out. And then there was room enough to cut the front on the folds, which I did. And see, oh, it's so beautiful. And I think I've avoided awkward flower placement. Well, it was these pink ones with the green dot in the middle that were worrying me. So those ones are fine. I'm not sure about that yellow daisy, but we'll see. And then there wasn't enough fabric to cut the back out on the fold. So I had to cut 2 halves, the left half and the right half, and I'll just sew them together with the middle seam line. What can you do? So I cut them out and I'll sew them together. So that's done. Now it's just the sleeves to go, and all I've got are these triangles. So I'm going to, if you have a really long thin bit, I have 4 of them here, so that each sleeve is going to be twice this, and I'm going to sew them together and then make really puffy sleeves out of them. Trust me. It'll work. I've done it before. So I am going to pin all the bits of the skirt together because there's 4 inserts as well as 4 regular size panels. It's going to be a bit, I definitely have to pin it before I sew it. And I also will sew the back 2 bits together. Then I'll sew the sleeve bits together and shape them, cut them into shape. And then I'll be back. It is a new day and the skirt is done. So I ended up, as I said, pinning it together and sewing it together. So it's 4 panels and 4 wedges. So I went panel, wedge, panel, wedge, panel, wedge all the way around. And it didn't need the wedges, but I mean, it was scrap fabric otherwise, so I just decided to use it, and it makes the skirt fuller and heavier, so it hangs beautifully, and it's just pinned on there, so that's why it's a little bit uneven. And oh, I really need to clean up before I do the reveal at the end, don't I? Anywho, so we'll set that aside, leave it on the mannequin for now, and it is time to focus on the bodice. So the front and back, the back bodice, I had to sew the left and the right together. Same with the linings, and the front bodice was already cut in one piece, so that was cool. So once they were all cut, then it was time to press them. I had to press the seams flat on the outer bodice, the back, and the lining, both the front and the back, needed the center seam pressed. And I also had it sewn the sides and the shoulder seams, so I pressed them as well. It's so much easier to press it before you've sewn the side seams though, honestly. So then I went ahead and sewed the outer front and back bodice together at the sides and at the shoulders. And once that was done, it was time to, yeah, they're done. And now you sort of slip the inner bodice, the lining bodice, inside the outer one, right sides together, and then you sort of pin them together so you can sew the neckline. And yeah, I It's a little tricky, but you get there eventually. So they're all pinned, and now it is time to sew them together to get the neckline. And once you machine sew it, then the next step is to clip the curves. Just clip all around the front and the back so that it sits nicely when you turn it out. Not too deep, you don't want to, but not too shallow either. Just right. So then you turn it out, and you're supposed to press it, but I'm a little lazy, so I just pin it with pins to get the seam settled and sitting straight. Then the next thing is the sleeves. Now these are my triangles. So what I did was just shape so this is what they ended up looking like. I made them last night. So you can sort of see that they're still basically a triangle shape, but I put a lot of pleats in the bottom. I put 5 pleats in the bottom here. I'll turn this one inside out. So first what I did was sew the 2 triangles together, and then I sort of just cut an arm-shaped curve to make it less of a triangle and more of a sleeve shape. And then I sewed the the underarm seam, and then I put 5 pleats in. All you do is put 1 center pleat in, then 2 one halfway between each, and then 2 more in. And then I also put 1 pleat in the top. I'm also going to, as I pin it, I'm going to pleat more at the top, but it's easier to do it as you're pinning rather than sew in the pleats. So that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to pin the sleeves onto the bodice one at a time. Here we go. It takes a while to do the pleats at the top. So I pin the top center, then the underarm center, and then pin from the bottom all the way up to the top. And yeah, these are so cute. They are so epically cute. I love these sleeves. They're so cute and puffy. And now it is time to grab the skirt, unpin it. There are so many pins in this so that it would look good and it would, hang properly and it wouldn't stretch the fabric or anything. So anyway, I unpinned that, and it is time to pin the skirt to the dress. This is going to be interesting because there are just so many panels. But what I did was I divided the bodice so we've got this front center and the back center are the yellow ones, and the 2 sides are obviously the other 4. And then to make it into 8ths, I just divided it in half again. So now it's in 8ths, and they're the pearl pins. And the pearl pins are where I'm going to put the seams, so that I have the 4 seams on. They're not center front or center back. They're just at the sides, all 4 seams. So yeah, I pinned them, and then I pinned in between as well. So there's 16 points in the end. There's 16 points pinned. And then once they're all done, then I pleated it down from there. And then I sort of just went around and adjusted and made sure everything was as I wanted it, because it is a pretty full skirt. I mean, it's not the fullest skirt ever, but it is decent. And then I machine sewed it and reinforced it. So machine sewed it twice because you do need to reinforce it. And here we go. It is done. It is so cute. I still have to do all the hand sewing. So I have to hand stitch down the lining, at the waistline to cover all the raw seams of the skirt. And I also have to turn down the cuffs, pin them under, and then hand stitch them down. And the hem, I have to do that. But it's a panel skirt, which means some of it was cut on the bias. So I will have to wait and let that drop. That's my excuse for leaving it for a week. But yeah, so let's see it on the mannequin. Here it is. Oh, I love this so much. I have tidied up the background a little bit. See, I even put the dresses in a nice order with all the colours that are matching this dress are at the front. Details. And I just cleared everything off the shelves and put it on the ground. So, yeah, they'll pop into the bottom of the frame every now and again. Sorry about that. I thought they would be less visible. Anyway, back to the dress. This is what it looks like from the front, the side, and I'll show you the back without the tie on. So it's still pretty cute. Obviously, if I go out, I'll put a ribbon or a sash on there or a belt. But as people did in the vintage days. So here we go. This is the bright green ribbon. It looks adorable on this dress, as I knew it would. But yeah, oh, it's so cute. I am so glad with the way this turned out. So the vintage Vogue pattern is the from 1939 is the V9294 that I used 4 panels instead of 2. It's, yeah, I cut them on the fold, so it's actually supposed to be 4. And then technically I would have made 8, but yeah, I just say front and back, so 2. But anyway, and it is just so adorable. It's a really unusual floral because it's got autumn tones and those sort of springy summer pastels in there as well. And it's just with a grey base. It's so incredibly vintage. Back when I had a vintage wardrobe, yeah, I had a couple that had grey, like real dresses from the mid last century, and they had grey in them, and they're just so pretty. So yeah, I really love this dress. The skirt probably could have done without those 4 extra wedges, but I don't know. I like the weight of a big skirt. And, oh, this is me putting a iris on there. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't need another flower, but, you know, I love when you're wearing something so over the top and then you just add something extra over the top. And then I was like, ooh, I could make a little headband, like a little floral tiara out of all these other miniature, tiny little fabric flowers that I have. But anyway, so here is the dress, and it is adorable. So yeah, by all means, go out and buy yourself some floral fabric, or dig around your fabric stash for this was 4 yards of fabric, and yeah, totally worth it. It is just the most adorable dress. It's really wearable and yet completely adorable too. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this non-UFO episode. I really did need a break from making all those dresses. The next one up is the episode with the 3 mustard dresses. But then after that, I'm just going to go back to doing 1 dress per episode because, oh my goodness, it is just exhausting doing that many things. So I do still have some tweed jackets, the 2 green ones from last month, and the rainbow ones that I'm making for this month. But I need some Microtex needles to do the silk, so machine sew the silk for the lining. So yeah, when I get them, I will finish those jackets. Jackets take so much work. Oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Happy holiday if you celebrate this holiday. If not, just a reminder that fabric stores and the pattern company like simplicity.com and somethingdelightful.com, where you get the Vogue patterns, always have big sales on public holidays. So yeah, definitely check those out. Anyway, I am going to go and do more UFOs. It's never ending. Okay, bye.